Nobody loves your SaaS more than you. It's why no one else can it up as bad as you. Upside down, sideways, or with a cucumber. If you are about to build your own SaaS, here are a dozen ways you might it up. Hey, you. Yes, you, Mr. Founder. I'm making this video so you don't make these mistakes. Don't waste time, don't burn bridges. I want to say don't waste money, but I bet you're broke anyway. Relax. Just a little banter. By the end of this video, you should be able to catch yourself in moments when you're about to make really bad decisions about building your SaaS. I thought real hard about all the times I worked with founders, and I arrived at 12 mistakes they just can't seem to stop themselves from making. We'll go through them one by one, starting from the least to the most damaging mistakes. That means the best part is at the end. And I forgot to add timestamps, so I guess you'll have to just watch the whole video. And like, and subscribe, and comment. Please watch the video. Let's begin. Mistake number 12. Targeting a market that's too broad. Who wouldn't want to be the founder of the next software that literally everyone needs? But products like that are one in a million. And when the total addressable market is the whole world, competition is fierce and includes big players or founders who have backing from investors. They use their endless cash reserve to price war small players to death. And most of the time, by trying to appeal to everyone, you appeal to no one. For the best chance of success, the average founder should find a niche where you can address a unique need or problem, but still sell to a decent-sized market. It allows you to stretch your dollar further and tailor your marketing, sales, and product development more effectively. Mistake number 11. Ignoring competition. Some people work in a vacuum and innovate something that's been built 100 times before. That's not against the law, but how are you going to sell something like that? To carve out a piece of the market for yourself, your SaaS needs a unique value proposition. So when people ask why I choose you, you can say, because we're the only one that provides this. It can be seemingly minor, and out of 20 people, 17 won't care about it at all, 2 will find it is a minor USP as you said, and 1 will think, oh my god, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Because of this minor difference, you get 1 out of every 20 buyers and sway another 2. Only way to do this is by knowing what the competitor is offering and providing something different. Mistake number 10. Being cheap with hiring help. This one hits home for me. I get it. As a founder, you try to minimize cost because you don't have an endless piggy bank. You do what you can yourself. You learn how to build MVPs with no code. You master the platform, then you hit a limit and it's time to hire developers. The jump in price between a no-code platform and a developer is steep. For some founders, it's so painful they end up hiring purely based on price. They lift up the carpet to see which cave-dwelling developer is working for almost nothing. And that's the work they deliver. Almost nothing. It frustrates me so much that if the market rate is say $100 per hour, a founder hires someone willing to work for $5 an hour. What do you think is going to happen? When the time comes to hire developers, don't cheap out. Pay the market rate even if you outsource overseas. And speaking of hiring developers, you might want to know that my team and I at Upside Studio help non-technical entrepreneurs grow past $5 to $10 million in annual revenue with custom software. We've worked with over 30 leading brands across industries. These businesses were stuck where no ready-made solution on the market solved their problem. To continue growing, they had to make their own solution. If your business is also currently stuck at this 5 to 10 million level and you want to explore custom solutions, let me help. There's a link in the description to sign up for a free, no strings attached strategy session. We'll dissect your current constraint together and you get an honest opinion about whether custom software is your answer. And if yes, we decide if we can work together. If it's not, you just save yourself from a very big investment with no ROI. Apply through the link and we'll be in touch. I'm only taking 3 of these calls per month and it's first come, first serve. So if you want to work with me, apply now. Back to the video. Mistake number 9. Trying to out-expert the developers. This one frustrates me less, but it's still pretty painful. It's when a non-tech founder who's enjoyed success tries to play lead developer. Just because your last SaaS had a 7-figure exit doesn't make you go from non-tech to tech. but some founders think it does. And now they want to have the final say on the tech stack, the architecture, when it's time to refactor. It's like an intern trying to tell the CEO how to run a business because he has a 4.0 CGPA. As a founder, trust the expertise of your development team. That's why I said don't cheap out when hiring them. Micromanaging their technical decisions causes frustration at best. And at worst, you wreck your app's long-term maintainability. Mistake number 8, not being involved in the build. Do I sound like a hard-to-please girlfriend here? I was just saying some founders make the mistake of micromanaging. Now I'm saying they don't give enough attention to building the SaaS. Make up your mind, Adrian! I'm a complicated man, okay? Besides, these two things are not the same. I'm talking about founders who miss sprint meetings, who forget what's next on the product roadmap, who don't listen when we bring up issues discovered halfway into development. Those kinds of founder. Often, they are too focused on other parts of the business like marketing and finding investment. And I empathize, but it doesn't change the fact that if you are the founder, you cannot not know what's next on the product roadmap, unless you make mistake number 7, no product roadmap. A product roadmap outlines your SaaS vision, priorities, and the steps needed to achieve your goals. It aligns your team, manages stakeholders' expectations, and ensures that everyone is working towards the same objective. If you don't have a product roadmap, you have none of these things and you're just taking it a day at a time. And you're probably going to end up spending many days going in circles. If you're a first-time founder, make sure your developer puts together a product roadmap for you. If this is not your first time building a SaaS, no excuses. And a lot of the next mistakes can be directly traced to poor product road mapping. Mistake number 6, overcomplicating the SaaS. God bless the founders who insist on adding too many features too quickly. They won't say it, but I know it. They're anxious to please every customer because they don't actually know who they are selling to. At the early stage of development, every additional feature delays the launch of a SaaS and gives competitors more time to be first to market. It's also more expensive because you're paying for all those person hours. That's why you should wait until your SaaS is already running. Then you can bombard it with all the fancy features, right? Wrong. That was a test. What? What the f? Too many features too soon equals bloated product that can't solve the core problem anymore because it takes too damn long to load. Of course, you'd never have to worry about this if you had a product roadmap. Seriously, make a product roadmap. Mistake number 5, no onboarding strategies. Founders sometimes assume their SaaS is too simple to need an onboarding process as part of the UX. Even the simplest SaaS can be complicated in the hands of certain first-time users. And complicated SaaS? First-time users trying to navigate a complex SaaS is like watching those documentaries where the newborn gazelle is trying to walk for the first time. And honestly, with attention spans the way they are, most people aren't going to sit down and figure it out themselves. That's why, as you build out your features, you should build documentation and onboarding processes that can guide users the way they want to be guided. Hold their hands the whole way, leave them alone, and everything in between. Mistake number 4, not monitoring key metrics. Daily active users, churn rate, feature usage, session length, screen response time. All these and more are metrics that tell a founder how engaged their users are and what the user experience is like. It's a big deal because it tells you what's going well with your SaaS and what's not. Those are the areas you will want to fix. Some founders don't even know how to find these metrics, and many won't know how to interpret them. You can't rely on users telling you before you check. For every user that takes the trouble to complain, so many more will just drop off. And imagine if your feedback button was having a problem too. GG. Mistake number 3, not critically evaluating user feedback. To the credit of founders I've worked with, none of them ignored user feedback. Quite the opposite. A single 1-star review and they're calling me at night.
1 star, Adrian. It's the end of the world. How could this be? Fix it now, Adrian.
And I'm like, okay, I'll check it right now. I check and it's a complaint that the font is too small. Look, the users of your SaaS are the most important stakeholder, no one's denying that. But people will want all sorts of changes to fit them. And a lot of those changes are useful to literally nobody else. Or even if all your users are asking for it, if it's going to take your SaaS from profitable to neck deep in debt, don't do it. Stop treating every user request like God's commandment. Unless God is one of your users and he sends in a request. In that case, I would say make an exception. Mistake number 2. Biting off more than you can chew. You sometimes see founders who share their regrets taking on big challenges too soon. They were level 1 founders who thought they were tackling a level 1 SaaS project. But it turns out it was level 100 and it spanked them raw. You'll find them even in my comment section. These challenges come in the form of managing remote teams, surprisingly complicated SaaS products, and running into limitations with no-code app builders. For me, the best way to learn from these mistakes is to learn from the mistakes of others. There's no complete list of beginner-friendly SaaS or blacklisted remote developers. So if you're going solo, don't go solo YOLO. Check with others who were once in your shoes if you are about to make a mistake. I can't really fault new founders for this because bad choices are how you learn to make good choices. But you will absolutely stuff up along the way. And now for the number 1 most fatal mistake SaaS founders make. Mistake number 1. Only focusing on building the SaaS. What are you talking about, Adrian? Mess up building a SaaS by building a SaaS? That's exactly what I mean. Building a great product is important and very difficult. And that can force a founder to focus all of their attention on building the SaaS. But newsflash, the world is full of fantastic SaaS that nobody uses. You show it to your mom and she says, "Oh, that's nice." Delete. 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 I'd argue that if you want to build a profitable SaaS business, great marketing beats great product development. Because as you are building and building and building, your competitors are building and promoting and selling. By the time you're ready to sell, there's no one left to buy. For that reason, I would love you to watch my video on the 4 key skills every founder needs to build profitable software products. In summary, you need product development, marketing, monetization, and idea validation. I explain how they're all related to each other in the video. And if you don't have these skills, find people who do. But there you go, a dozen ways founders take the difficult task of building a SaaS and make it impossible. You're not Tom Cruise, so make your job easier. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and tell me what other mistakes do founders make. See you!